this point, Jeremiah has prepared Aurora as much as he possibly can from the ground. Now it's time to find out if all that preparation translates into a willing riding horse. Before he ever commits to sitting upright, he goes through the same routine she already knows. He makes sure she can see him out of both of her eyes and on both sides. He lets the stirrup bump against her sides and makes sure she knows that the saddle moves both sides as well. He bounces in them a little. Nothing should come as a surprise. And then, just like before, he starts uncommitted, laying across the saddle, giving Aurora one more chance to carry the weight before asking anything more of her. When you put your foot in the saddle and start to step up into it, the saddle moves differently and the weight shifts. So that's uncomfortable for Aurora, and she steps forward. A little bit more preparation and back in the saddle. This time she should be a little bit more comfortable with how that saddle moves across her back. Just like before, he starts uncommitted, laying across the saddle, giving Aurora one more chance to carry the weight before asking anything more of her.
You're right. You don't tap. Yeah. I forgot. I like to make tapping to go, but yeah.
When she relaxes, he steps down and praises her, letting her know that was all there was to worry about. And then, of course, we're going to do it on the other side.
Old man, we get on different. And even when I was a young man, I still got on different. The same way. I act like I'm old. I just can't make it. I just can't make it. I can't make it. You come back over here, I'm having troubles. I need some support. I need some support here. Yeah, good girl.
This time, he takes a committed seat and puts his other foot in the stirrup. From this point on, Jeremiah really isn't thinking about where they're going. He's thinking about what Aurora is telling him. Every step gives him information. Is her back relaxed or tight? Is she breathing normally? Can she process what he's asking? Or is she mentally overloaded? Almost immediately, Jeremiah notices Aurora carrying herself a little tight through her back. Nothing alarming, but he decides to step off and give her a little bit more prep time with that saddle by lunging. The ability to adjust and feel the horse is not something that is learned overnight. We like to say a good horseman is built through time and miles. The same is true for a good trainer. For a trainer, the number of horses makes a big difference too. The more horses you work with, the more experience you gain. Working with horses in every walk of life, from halter breaking babies to colt starting to rehab and retraining older problem horses. Every single horse gives a trainer more information and helps them to develop multiple methods and tools to work with. Years of feeling horses beneath you and learning to recognize the smallest changes in their body language are what keep both horse and riders safe. Once again, Jeremiah climbs back in the saddle. Aurora is still carrying herself pretty tight through her back. She's thinking, but isn't completely relaxed yet. Sometimes more groundwork is the answer. Other times, there simply isn't a substitute for letting the horse work through carrying a rider while someone is actually on their back. This is one of the moments. At some point, you have to make a decision. Horse training is risk management. You stack the odds as heavily in your favor as possible, but you never can remove the fact that you're climbing onto the back of a 1,000-pound prey animal with thoughts of its own. Jeremiah keeps Aurora's feet moving forward because forward keeps her mind engaged. A horse thinking is far less likely to react than one that's standing still worrying about life. He changes directions constantly, hoping to soften her body and give her breathing moments where she can settle herself. Even the horses gathered along the fence become part of the lesson. For them, it's an entertainment. For her, their relaxed presence should help Aurora to settle into the idea that maybe everything really is okay. She's still carrying more tension than Jeremiah would like, so he hops off one more time and checks his cinch. Not because he thinks it's loose, but because the next step is just to have her move through this tightness, and things could get a bit funny from there. The last thing he wants is for a loose saddle to become the reason that Aurora loses confidence. Everything checks out. Back on he goes. One thing Aurora definitely has going for her is she likes to move, and that might be something we have to polish later, but for the first ride, we'll take a horse that wants to move over one that's glued to the ground. She doesn't get stuck in circles spinning, and she doesn't look up and forget how to use her feet. She just goes. The goal on every first ride for Jeremiah is pretty simple: walk, trot, lope. No drama. Not perfect, but just willing. Jeremiah spent a little bit more time letting her walk around and learn to turn and even come to a stop. And Aurora seems to be a bit more comfortable now. It's time for her to learn the other gaits that he's going to expect from her later on. Trotting is not something Aurora finds hard to do. She just doesn't understand that's what he's asking her to do right now. At first, Aurora really isn't sure what Jeremiah's legs bumping against her sides are supposed to mean. Remember, this mare has no clue what riding is about yet. To her, it's just another new sensation to figure out. Jeremiah keeps the questions simple. He adds leg pressure, weights, adds a little bit more. Then Aurora offers a little more forward. Even if it's only a faster walk, all the pressure goes away. That's the conversation. Pressure asks the question, the release tells the horse they found the right answer. One of the nice things about starting a horse that's truly a blank slate is there's no old habits to erase or confusing cues to work around. You're free to write the story from the very first page. The trade off is that writing those first few lines sometimes takes a little longer. Every cue, every release, every success, it's brand new information. But once Aurora understands what Jeremiah is asking, she can begin to build on that understanding. A fast walk turns into a trot, and then a trot becomes an easy transition. That's how good foundations are built, one simple answer at a time. Now that she's found the trot, it's time for her to continue that forward transition all the way up into a lope. Young horses are always overwhelmed at a lope, and Aurora is no exception. They don't spend a lot of time loping out in the pasture on their own. They'll trot occasionally to catch up with their friends or get to food a little faster, but they very rarely lope. Jeremiah uses changes of direction to hopefully add more energy to her feet to make that lope a little easier for her to get to. To help her find that first lope, Jeremiah usually has a lariat hanging from his saddle. The extra weight and the noise makes it easier to encourage that transition. New horses can get a bit frustrated with your feet constantly banging on their sides. The lariat provides that same forward encouragement without a physical attachment. Today he's missing that, so he's just going to be using the extra rope that he's riding with to add the energy. It takes a few tries, but eventually Aurora finds the answer, and that's all Jeremiah was looking for.
Yeah, good girl. Woo! Woo-hoo! Atta girl. Yeah, good girl.
Has to be one of my favorite parts. Yes, Aurora just found her first lope. Yes, Jeremiah immediately starts acting like a complete lunatic, yelling, patting, and making enough noise that you'd think she just won the Kentucky Derby. Believe it or not, there's a reason for it. Aurora has just finished loping for the first time with a rider on her back. She's ready to stop. She's ready to catch her breath. Mentally, she's looking for a break. That makes this one of the best moments to introduce loud and exciting. If she learns that all that cheering, hollering, and excitement happens right before she gets to stop and rest, she starts building a positive association with that commotion. Later on, if someone yells across the pasture, cheers from the stand, drops something, or a cell phone suddenly starts blaring in a saddlebag, she's far less likely to overreact.